What up? It's your boy DJ Escalade of We Rec Tracks. I'm making this video to show people who may not be familiar with the layout of Serato, what the layout is and everything. I'm using Serato DJ. I don't know what version it is. It is 2.4.6. It's the 64-bit version. If you don't know what version you're using, you can always go to your settings, and down here at the bottom, it'll tell you. All right, so I'm gonna start on the left side and work my way all the way to the right side. If you're using a Mac, all of these buttons will be on this side. If you're using a Windows PC, all of these three buttons right here will be on the opposite side. So basically, this is full screen to close it and to minimize it. You got link. I think this has something to do with Ableton or something like that. I don't really use that, so it doesn't matter to me. Right next to it, you've got quantize. Quantize is when you're hitting your pads. It does it uniform rather than being all over the place. I don't keep quantize on because I like to stutter my hits sometimes, and with quantize on, it doesn't sound the same. It just keeps it on beat, basically. You got your layout. You can go vertical, horizontal, extended, stack, and library. I like to keep mine in extended because I like the big waveforms, and I like to be able to see my library and still have everything else where it's visible. You can switch in between 2 decks and 4 decks, depending upon if you have a 4-deck or 2-deck controller. There's flip. You can use this if you actually have flip. I have flip. I've done some flips. Flip is cool. You have record. This is where you can either record audio or video, and you can change your record location if you want to. I just leave mine standard. Here's your effects. You have all your effects that you can choose from in here that are Serato effects. I have all the Serato effects because I bought the DDJ 1000 SRT, and it came with the package deal of all the effects, the DVS plugin, video, and it was something else, but pretty much everything. It pretty much came with everything. Video, I think it was flip and play. I think it came with play. So I think it pretty much unlocked everything. And here's your this air horn is your effects. Well, not your effects, but your samples. You can put anything in the sampler that you want. I have some samples loaded up. I'll play one for you.
What's up? It's the one and only King Al Key, you know what I'm talking about? Representing that H-time. You in the mix with my boy DJ Escalade. We wreck tracks. Terrell, Texas, stand up. H-time, you know what it is. You.
And on these samples, as you can see, there's a cue point right there. And that cue point basically is saying that I'm playing it from the cue point rather than just playing the sound itself. Right next to each, right next to your sample is the tempo. It tells you what the tempo is. This one has no tempo. This one is 71.2, 138.5, no tempo, 81.9, 110.4, so on and so forth. The cue point allows me to play it directly from where it's at, because as you can see, there's this big space right here on this, and the big space is a whole bunch of dead air. And the last thing you want is to play a sample and you have all this dead air before you actually get to it. So that's what the cue point is for. Then you have your volume right here where you can either raise or lower the volume to change the volume. Then you have the overall volume of the source right here that controls all of these. And then you can output it to whatever channel you want to, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is basically the sampler channel and the master channel. So master means it goes over everything. The sampler channel means it's just dedicated to its own channel. Then you have 4 different banks. So you got 8 samples and 4 different banks, and you can switch in between all these banks and have the samples. So got all your samples loaded up like that. With this, you have your empty banks. You got 8 banks right here. I can go over here to one of my folders where I have some samples. I got some samples right here. It got an 808. I can just take this sample and I can just drag it in there, and then this is the whatever that is. You can come over here. They got beats. Well, of course that's what they named it, but these are other. You got the kick. You got a hi-hat, clap, hits. You got an air horn. I think I'm gonna use that. You got gunshot. Got a laser. I think this is the main one that I want though. I'm gonna put that there, and I'll put that there. You got some loops, so you can put a loop in here and then you can trigger it. And if you wanted to, you could actually change this and oh, okay, that's what that is. All right, you got sweeps. I can also go over here to my other folder and pull out some more stuff. Like I can put this in here. This is something that I recorded.
Yo, man, you are wrong. You know you're wrong. We're supposed to be homeboys. Why you pretending like you don't want to DJ the gig, man? Like you all of that.
Look, I don't DJ for free anymore. Plus, you never provide transportation. You tell me how I'm supposed to get my turntables, records, and speakers over there anyway.
Yo, man, I have the house keys as well as the car keys. My parents, down south, way down south. We're in.
Look, let me rap, and then we'll consider it.
Listen, you already got gonged in the school talent show. Why you want to embarrass yourself again? I don't know.
Look, I've been practicing. Look, I got the dope lyrics. Just give me a...
Deaf women, man, I'm gonna be hooking you up with, man. This ain't no tackhead party. Yeah. Deaf women like those. You like that? Do you like...
Or this, you know, you can put this up.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
So, yeah, I got some, like, I got this. Yeah.
You ain't nothing. All you do is spin record. That's all you do. Who you think he is? DJ Quick?
No,
huh?
No, I ain't say
Kid
that.
Capri?
I didn't say
huh?
that.
Oh, you must be Jimmy Walker. Blue, you ain't nothing. You don't deserve nothing. You don't get nothing. You get what I give you. I got a contract between me and you that say you do.
So, yeah. So, that's pretty much the sampler. And as you can see, this button repeats everything. And this determines how you trigger it. So, yeah. And you can pretty much put anything you want to in there. So, like, I have a beat. I can put my beat off in here and play it. So I pretty much have control over whatever I want to put off in here. So yeah, I can pretty much put whatever I want to off in there and trigger it. Like I say, you got 4 banks. You can pretty much do whatever with those banks. Then the last one is video. You can click that video screen will open up and the video properties will open up. I ain't gonna do all of that because it's irrelevant to this. And then you got your master volume. You want to leave this at a nice area so that when your master volume and your master volume on your controller are together, you don't have any issues with distortion, clipping, or anything like that. This is your MIDI panel. You can click this and pretty much trigger whatever you want to MIDI-wise to make something do something else on your controller. If you're not real familiar with MIDI, then I wouldn't mess with it. This is my Serato, which is basically, it's where all of my packs and everything is located, all of my purchases are, and stuff like that. I'm not gonna get off into that. It's got my email address and everything else in there. And then you have help. You can click this and it'll give you all the tool tips and it'll show you what everything is and give you information to help you out with stuff that you may not know anything about. You can also come over here and click and it'll show you all of the keys that you can press to control certain things. And then you have your settings. Oh, also with this, they have tutorials, and you can actually do support, and you can search for whatever you're looking for. Also, in here, you've got your DJ preferences. This right here is playback keys. Use shift. That affects your triggering of your samples. With that unchecked, you can use your 1 through 5, 6 through 0 to trigger your samples without having to press the shift key. The lock playing deck basically says what it says. Whatever deck is playing is locked, so that if you accidentally drag a song over there, it won't work because it's locked. It says sort cues and loops chronologically. That just means that your cues will be sorted chronologically based upon how they go within the song. I don't leave that checked because sometimes I may be chopping up a sample or something, and I don't want my keys to be sorted chronologically because then they'll throw out the sample chop. Enable hot cues. When you have that enabled, your hot cues work. The track end warning is basically what it says. The screen will flash. I have it on for my controller because my controller flashes to let me know that the track is ending. The disable needle search during playback, I don't really need to do that because I don't have a needle search on my controller. But if I did and the needle search was getting in the way of my hands, I would disable it. And shoulder jump, beat jump controls is basically what it says. They'll display on the screen. I don't use that because I don't have a need to use the beat jump controls like that. I can actually access them from my controller if I need to. Auto gain is basically what it says it is. I leave it on the recommended, and you can go louder or lower. And here you have your start time and your stop time. Start time is the time that you press play, how long it takes to start up. Stop time is how long it takes to stop. I have play from start check because that's the way that I want to do it. It basically plays it from the beginning of the song. Instant doubles is, with this checked, if you play a song on one side, then the song will automatically double when you move it to the opposite side. So basically, it'll play two of the same song at one time. Some DJs use that. I don't need to because I know how to I know how to DJ, so I don't really need that. That's not going to be of an advantage to me, and if I need to do instant doubles, all I have to do is double click the low button 2 times and it'll activate instant doubles automatically. But instant doubles can be very useful when you only have one mixer and one turntable, CDJ, whatever you want to use, so that can be very helpful for that. And you have play from the first cue point, which is basically whatever cue point that you have set first is where it's going to start from. And turn off effects is basically what it says. Your playback speed, 30, 45, that really doesn't matter when you're using a controller. But if you switch it over from 33 to 45, then you will have songs playing in a slower speed, which means that they would sound screwed because all of the tracks are playing in 33 revolutions per minute. Hypothetically, now in the that are digitally made, so that's the standard format. Your recording, you can change that up to whether you want it to be in WAV or AIFF. and you can go 16-bit or 24-bit. And at the bottom of that, you have sync. My sync is turned off. My sync buttons are MIDI mapped to activate auto play and record because I don't use my sync buttons. You have simple sync and you have smart sync. Never used it. And snap to the beat grid only would work if you have all of your tracks analyzed. Maintain sync on track load and tempo slider effects, all sync decks. That just means that it's just gonna keep the sync in sync. And the only way I would need to use sync is if I was doing something that was very complicated, like using 4 decks and doing some very complicated stuff, which I don't have to. The reason why my setup looks like this is because I have DVS. If you didn't have DVS, then it wouldn't look like this. It would just be, you would just see this screen because only the DVS compatible controllers or Serato boxes or Serato enabled mixers would look like this. Audio, you have your latency. I put mine at 5. I think 10 is the standard. I could be wrong. The lower the number, the better your the better response from hand to computer you will have. Use laptop speakers. Basically, if you check that, then you can use your laptop speakers to output to a different source. And just make audio available to other applications. When that's checked and you have the I Show You audio capture plugin downloaded and installed, you can use programs like OBS and StreamYard and all of that stuff to pull the audio from your controller directly without having to plug in and do all this extra stuff. CD/vinyl, that's basically if you have CDs or vinyl that you're using with the time code signal, and all of these things apply to that specifically. I don't use vinyl right now. I don't have any turntables in my possession. My turntables have been sold, and I'm going to work on getting more later. Library and display. When you have your iTunes library checked, it'll pull up your iTunes library, but you have to go over to iTunes and make it available to be shown on other platforms, basically. Protect library. When this is checked, no matter what edits you do, you can't delete the library. You can't drag a crate to another folder or anything, get messed that up. It just protects it. Custom crate columns allows you to have your crates and then sub crates and everything else and look a certain way. Center on selected song, really don't use that, don't even know what it's for. And include sub crate tracks, that is basically sub crates. A crate and then a sub crate. And then the crate preferences allows you to, I guess, order the crates however you want them to be and not be how they come standard. Show tempo matching display. I don't really know what it's for, but I'm guessing that it's going to be something up there that's going to help you with beat matching. Hide tracks /artist AM mode. That is something that was in Serato Scratch Alive, but in order for you to access it, you had to put in a code, and that code would make it work. Since the update of Serato DJ Pro, I don't know which version, but somewhere down the line, they updated it and added that in there as a feature. What it does is it blocks your tracks, so people can't see what you're using. So if I was to load a song over here, you can't see what that track is. So it's basically like putting a label over a record and hiding that track. So if you have something that's yours that you don't want nobody to know about, you can hide that. And then right under that is EQ, colored waveforms. What that means is there's a color waveform. And when you take out the highs, it looks a certain way. When you take out the mids, and then when you take out the lows, and you add whatever, then you see what colors are what. And then you have everything all together. Performance Pad Q layout is basically this right here. This is your Performance Pad Q layout. It looks just like your performance pads that you use with your software. With your controller. And color key display basically gives you all these numbers right here, and that's your key, and it displays your color key. And then right here, you can determine what you want the wheel to show in. I have mine set to Camelot. And send usage data to Serato basically is it just basically tracks your usage, and if it crashes or anything like that, it sends that data to Serato. Show streaming services is basically, you have that checked. You have Beatport, SoundCloud, BeatSource, and Tidal, but you have to have premium subscriptions from those companies in order for them to show up. I don't use that. All my files are physically on my computer. Over here, you have your mixer properties. You can either do this in stereo or mono. Your monitoring, mine is set up on my controller itself, so anything that I change will show up in here. And basically, I have my Q mix set to in the middle. My Q volume isn't too high, it isn't too low, it's just right for me. And the up faders you can change. If it's controllable, you can change the curve of that. And then my crossfader curve is set to fast. That way that I can make cuts and scratches and stuff like that. And then this mic/aux volume, that's for your microphone. Your effects, basically you have all of your effects right here. And what you could do is you could take effects and you could put them over here on this side so that you could use your favorite effects and basically control those. Right here is MIDI. I have my MIDI set up. You see my device, and then this is the MIDI that I had set up and I saved. So I can recall this and I can edit it. These are all your expansion packs. I have all the expansion packs You have your controls for video and all of this stuff. I'm not really gonna go off into it. It's basically based upon your video card and how much RAM you have. I have 8 gigs of RAM, and it holds pretty well with my videos. But I will say this: if you have an i5 processor and you're trying to do video, I wouldn't advise it, because your computer is gonna take up a lot of memory just to process that. It's better to have an i7 and do video than an i5. An i5 can handle audio very well, but it takes a while. It takes a pretty good while for video to be analyzed on an i5. So this this is just simple stuff. So that's that. On to, I guess, the controls. If you have a controller plugged in, you're not gonna really see this right here, let alone this internal, relative, or absolute, because it's not gonna show all of this. You may have a plus and a minus, and you may have a reverse. This is for your hot cues, this is for your flips, and this is for your saved loops. Your play button, and I think this is, I guess, load and unload or something, I don't know.
Well, it's a group thing. It's a group.
Okay. So basically that just starts the song over. These are your loop parameters right here. And that's pretty much it. This is to eject it. This is slip mode. Never knew what it was, but slip mode is basically, if it's on, then so that's what slip mode does. It basically allows you to manipulate the track and still stay on beat and stay in time. So it's continuously running, and you can just do whatever you want to it. And the slip part of it basically allows you to make adjustments and return to the point in the song where it's actually at. And that's pretty much. Oh, and then this right here is your key. So you can move up or down with your keys, and that's pretty much it. This is your sensor and your eject. So that's pretty much everything. You've got autoplay, and then you've got your switch in between light and dark. You can use this whenever you're playing out in the sun, because this screen is harder to see when it's very bright out. It's easier to see that. They have updated to this within the recent updates. But before this, what I would do is I would go in to my accessibility and invert the screen on a Mac. I don't know how you would do that on Windows, because I don't know if they can actually do that on Windows, but you can invert the screen on a Mac, and it'll basically take the black and make it white, and it'll be brighter. Autoplay is basically I'll go from here. I'll pick this. So basically, once one song finishes, the next song starts. It could be an instant or it could take a while depending upon what type of song it is and everything. But what you can do is you can put songs in your prepare and so like I can do this and then I'll do this and then select this autoplay and what what um what you have to essentially do is select it from where you want it to pull from, because if you don't do that, then it'll just pull from anywhere, and you don't want to be playing songs that are not kid friendly at a kid friendly party. Go to the end, and what's gonna happen next? Autoplay is on, and there's nothing else there. So maybe if I put something else in there, and I go to the end again, it'll pull from there. I think they've kind of gotten better on the autoplay, because before it would just pull from wherever you want it to pull from. And okay, I guess I'll break down the rest of this down here. So you got your crates right here. You can have as many crates as you want, label them however you want to. You can have sub crates and all of that. This is all of your music. Well, this is all of whatever you have in Serato. This is all audio, video, media, iTunes, and then all of your crates. And then right here you have smart crates. I can create a smart crate, and I can add a rule, and I can say album contains that. So I can say that it contains that, and then I can say save. So when I come over here, it should pull it up. It takes a minute though. But let me do it again. Add rule, album. So I can do Mo 3. Then I can add rule, and I can say, okay, I can say artist. And then I can say album, and I can say shatas. So it takes a minute to actually put it in there, because what it's doing essentially is it's searching for it. But it would basically pull it up. And that's what it's supposed to do. I'll try one more time. Add a rule. Artist. Oh, 3. Save. It's kind of tricky, but it takes a minute to load because it's actually looking for those songs, and it'll specifically make it that. So you got mode 3. And if I would have spelled it right, then it obviously would have pulled it up. So it's particular to however it's spelled and everything. And this is all mode 3 right here. And it pulls it from wherever. This is iTunes. These are what iTunes files look like. And these are video files. And the rest is audio. But yeah, that's what it'll do. And that's pretty much it. And you can have it where you have just this or the actual album. Cover art display. Whichever one you want to do. They both have the same information. It's just the album art. And there you go. And then it'll update if there are more files from that. And then right here you have your gain, which is the output of the song. If it's real low, you can turn it up. And that is that.